Hi there, ho there. We have several things we're doing on Right Turn Garage TV tonight. Well, I kind of got distracted last week, and well, actually, what happened was I went and touched up a few areas on the mullet machine here, and what happened was I made the Bondo just a little too runny, so the resin didn't quite sit. And remember the pinholes we had here? They're covered, but I couldn't sand it. And the little hump we had here, yep, couldn't sand it. And it waited overnight. I kind of got a little too happy on the resin and not enough hardener. So that equals a lot longer drying time. You know, that stuff. And then, you know, we were sanding. But we're almost done with the sanding part on this stage. Tonight, which I'm not going to show you this part, because sanding is sanding. We've been sanding for days, months, years, whatever it feels like. So for this here, we're just going to touch up our little area there, the part on the door. We're even going to finish this hood. But on the old markets of places, old Dad may have just scooped up a hood. And by may have, I mean that's what we're working on tonight. And we're going to fix it with these clamps from, you know, the Marts, Walmarts, you know. Everybody goes to Walmarts. Man, it is pouring buckets out. I'm glad I got in here before it started raining. So whenever you get a discount hood, you're going to have to do some work to it. And don't expect that the buyer, that the seller is always going to tell you the truth. Yeah. Now, I still got this for a good price, I believe, because it just needs work on the underside, which is a big plus to me. The underside being this crack here. And yep, you can see it. That was not fixed by Fiberglass. Nope. That was fixed by Bondo. And we all know how that turns out, right? Not gooder. The second part is this little fella. I'm pretty sure this guy has stripped. I'm pretty sure of it. So I'm going to try to untwist this with some vice grips on him. Thank you, Derek. And then, you know, we're just going to hope that it pulls off of there. And then we're going to grind all this nastiness down that should have never been there in the first place with this Bondo. And we're actually going to fix it with Fiberglass. And then we're going to seal the deal with our clamps. We're going to clamp it up, pull him tight, and it's going to be right. That way, we don't have to worry about the issues. And next week, you'll get to see it on the car. I'm going to keep this part a secret. I want to keep the hood just a little bit of a secret. I don't want to show too much of it off because it's a piece de resistance, you know what I mean? But I was saying that I got distracted last week working on this because I needed to just take a break and see a victory someplace, right? So I did. I've been kicking around the idea of switching the wheels on bipolar, you know, the little sissy truck S10. And I have a set of IROC wheels that come off an 87. So I polished them up, and they turned out absolutely beautiful. They are smooth as a baby's behind. I started off with like 180, took it all down. These are machine finish originally. They have a, you know what I mean? You can feel it. Machine finish. I took it with 180, 320, and then I think I went to 800 and 600. 600 and then 800. And then it gave me a shine like you wouldn't believe. Then I hit it with the old-fashioned mothers. This stuff here she's the berries. And these wheels from Harbonese Freight. This one was to rub off any excess. This one may have been the install. You know, you dip it in there and you just let her eat. And the good thing of it is it doesn't take hardly any of it to really polish it all up. Now, since bipolar is predominantly red, we did an old school trick. Check these things out. Look at this. Tell me that's not awesome. And that there is Rust-Oleum paint. Why Rust-Oleum paint? Because that stuff will last. It'll absolutely last. And be chip resistant, all that good stuff. And I just, I wanted to be a little different on it. I mean, it's pretty much self-leveling. But these wheels, look how shiny with that red. Like I say, the only thing I want shiny on bipolar is going to be the wheels. That's going to be the fanciest looking thing on that truck until you pop the hood. You get the most restrictive muffler I can get, you know, so I can get the old electrical cutouts, and then you hear the old monster come to life. But anyway, guys, so I just threw this paint on here real quick just so you guys could see it. But I am in love with that. I think that looks amazing. What you guys think? You like that? That's kind of how the older school fellers, I guess I'm kind of getting there. That's how, like, we couldn't afford wheels and stuff for our trucks back then. So you would hopefully get a set of like Corvette rallies, Camaro rallies, IROC wheels, Monte Carlo wheels, whatever. And you would paint them up, or, you know, whatever. Anything to make your ride different. We couldn't afford all these fancy wheels, you know. So this is my old school throwback that kind of way. I think it's a pretty good touch. And then we already have the tires for this, so we're gonna pull those ones off. They have a little bit of dry rot. So we are seriously gonna drive this car back and forth to work. Not every day, I don't think, but quite often. Once we get her all dependable and make sure it doesn't break down, because I've never, still not ever driven this car. But anyway, we're gonna drive this car quite often. As much as we drive the Bandito, and we drive the Bandito a lot. So we're gonna be driving this and the Banditas. You know, it's gonna be all great. It's gonna be wonderful. And but it's gonna need new tires. So I got those. I'm gonna pull those tires off, put them on those rims, and we're gonna put them on bipolar. Those absolutely will not rub at all on bipolar. Then we'll just save the 20-inch SS wheels for a project to be named later. Sorry, honey, you knew it was coming. But anyway, I'm gonna try to untwist this one more again. I'm gonna put the vice grips on her, screwdriver, and try to pry out, put some pressure on it, and maybe it'll come out. If not, we're gonna be doing some surgery right here. Be cutting the square in there and go in from the back side. All right, so give me a few minutes, I'll let you know what we're gonna do. All right, guys, so I think I figured it out. I had to cut a little access hole there with the old die grinder cut off wheel thing. So this thing will thread in, and it'll thread in enough to where I could probably grab it with these vice grips, but I have to cut it really close. See this? See that right there? There's a little place with no threads on it. I think what's happened is this is stripped. Pretty sure it has. So what I'm gonna do is cut it, shove it back through, pick that up with a magnet, and then we're gonna have to rethread this hole. I'm gonna try it at least. I mean, that's the best shot I think we got right now. And then once we get this bad boy out, I think I got a tap and die set. If I don't, we're going to end up getting a tap and die set. And I used to have one, but it was a real good, I mean, really classy one. So, but yeah, I think that's the problem, because I could push it back through. See how it's going back through? And I think once I get it to the place with no threads, that it'll be good. But I gotta keep enough threads on the other side, you know. And being that I dropped that little piece of fiberglass in there, daggone it, I was going to use it to like cover up my mistake. My mistake in there, but we'll try to fish it out once we get this, and if we don't, we'll just fill it back in with fiberglass. It'll be fine. And then we'll get to this part right. Cheers. All right? Give me a few minutes, wish me luck. We're gonna die grind or cut off wheel right there, shove it back through, see if we can't make this hole great again. All right? All right, well, I remembered a trick from way back when where I used to take a bolt and notch it. Whoa, hello. See that? On a grinder. And it would kind of tap into, oh yeah, I got it out of there, by the way. So what I had to do, I did exactly what I told you. I cut it, threaded it back through, picked it up, and I was able to get my piece of fiberglass back too. So we'll be able to fiberglass back over this, and that'll be fine. Now, like I was saying before I skipped around, this, I saw there were little threads in there, little bits. So I ground just 2 corners. Yeah, round bolts don't have corners. Anyway, I just ground 2 spots on it to make it try to, you know, thread in. And yes, this is me after I had threaded it in. But looky there. We now have, we did it. She threads in, she threads out. And by gosh, we just saved that without a tap and die kit. Thank God. And that is I don't even know what kind of bolt, but I've got a whole bin of them over there, so that's way more gooder than what I thought it was going to do. Now, to repair this hood, the cracks that we have, we ground down using this fella right here. I know you remember me using him if you've watched the show at all. Kind of like that little fella. He cuts out a lot of work, and he does it quick. So we pinched it all up here. There's a crack here that goes across. There's a crack there, a crack there, and then that appears to be it. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to get me some gloves on. I'm going to fold this over a couple times. I'm going to lay this mat thick. And I mean thick. Not over the bolt hole. Not there. Don't. No. You simmer down. But we're going to throw her on thick here. Okay? We're actually going to try to keep it down more around this area, because the piece of metal that goes across here, we don't want to make that off and throw our hood way off. I mean, it's not going to throw it way off, but we're going to try not to do that. And you're going to want to pinch as close as you can to this, that way, so you know you don't have that real big gap or anything. So, and that's as close as what we can get it after grinding, and that's pretty darn close. I think that'll make for an excellent repair. You're going to want to fold this over, or you can do it in layers, whatever you're more comfortable with. I may cut that up a little finer and do it, you know, multiple layers, 3 or 4 layers, because this is folded 4 times, you know. So what I'm going to try to do, you know, is get it just as thick as I can. Yeah, we're going to cut this up in smaller layers. Then what we're going to do is put our resin on it. After it's in place, we're going to put our resin on it. After we put our gloves on, you're going to want gloves. And this is a little trick I do. I use a brush. Now, why do I use a brush? Oh yeah, because fiberglass and resin is disgustingly sticky. Yes, yes it is. It is so sticky, it's not funny. So, we're going to cut this up. We're going to cut a few more pieces up. I originally had this intended for something else, I believe, but whatever. I've got more. So I'll cut this piece up in 3 or 4 sections. This up in a couple more sections, that way so we can put this down, mount it to where we need to, and put the glass where it needs to go. And you're going to see whenever you put this resin on here, I'm just gonna put it directly on there, and what I'm gonna do, hopefully I can show you guys whenever it comes that time, and I'm just gonna pat it into spots. So let me see if I can actually figure out a way to show you guys this as I'm doing it. That way, so it might make a little more sense, all right? Give me a few minutes to get me some gloves, scissors, and cut that stuff. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so hopefully you guys can see this. What I have is 2 little pieces of mat down, and I'm just gonna take my resin. Now, we're not gonna add hardener until we get all of this into spot. Because right now, what we wanna do is form this stuff, kind of like body putty. So we're just gonna mat him down, and this stuff will take form pretty good. So you'll be able to see really where you're adding it. And like I say, I do it like this. You guys can do however you do. This to me is the cleanest way. And the reason why I'm going to add it out further is so I can add also extra support where this thing was cracked. Oops, that's okay. I'll just go on for the next one too. But, you know, that way so it can add extra support, wrap around wherever it needs to, and, you know, do all kind of magic. But you'll see this stuff is actually not bad to work with. Not bad to work with at all. And, you know, this is the way you want to actually fix it, because this is not plastic. This is fibers. And you're going to want to do a hood, I'm guessing, in layers. So we're going to add another layer right here, because the crack went down this way. Okay, so we're going to add multiple layers just to make sure we get it, and we're going to wrap it down around. If anybody says anything about, oh man, who butchered your hood underneath? You know what? Where's your IROC Z? You know what I mean? Who cares? We're saving a hood. I mean, honestly, we're probably the best recyclers and stuff of the world. Everybody thinks that we're not. Car guys, I mean, we're like really activists. Think about it. I'm bringing this car from the dead. I'm bringing that 69 from the dead next. The Sunfire Bird was off the road for 12 years. And now I'm driving it daily. You know, do you think that anybody's going to be able to do that with these full electric cars down the road? I don't think so. I'm just saying. If you really want to save the environment, become a car guy. There's guys taking them, it's been setting for 40 and 50 years even. I'm a big fan of Derek on Vice Grip Garage, and I've seen him get some pretty unrealistic stuff running and driving. Pretty amazing. Stuff that's set for 20 years, drives at 400 miles. Pretty amazing. So, it's kind of what encouraged me to do my show. So, that, and I was going to have to fix all this stuff anyway because I'm a car junkie. So, you know how that goes. Because if you're watching this, more than likely, you're a car junkie as well. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Now, you don't really have to worry about the resin setting up on you until you add the hardener. See how that fits just perfectly flush, and it fits way down in those cracks? Now, rather than me just babble on and on for another 24 or 25 minutes or however long this takes me, because I'm also going to cover that hole back up since we have threads back in there. Instead of me just, you know, sitting here babbling all night for like ever. I'm just going to go ahead and add this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm going to add it. After I get done adding that, I don't know if this is the right way or not. I'm going to dab the hardener on there. And I'm going to mix it in the exact same way I just did with that. If somebody knows better, please tell me. That's the way I'm going to do it. It's going to be like a lot of hardener, you know, I think, you know. Does that make it extra more gooder? Probably not. It probably just makes it cure quicker, just like in Bondo. So that's my game plan. May not be a real game plan, but I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. So, but what I was saying was, you see how that wraps down and around like this? You know, that's gonna look a lot better, especially with just the smallest, you know what I mean? Little coat. A little coat of this never happened. So anyway, we're going to repair the crack up here, right there, and we're going to finish laying this all out. All right, no need in you guys watching all that exciting stuff. So just give me a few more 24 25 minutes, and then I'll show you the end result. Even this, you know, cutout hole there. Sound good? All right, guys, I'm ready to show you. Are you ready? So this is what we got going on here. Covered the hole perfectly. I didn't try to squeeze that back in. Just made a new fiberglass piece, and she's going to set nice and flush. This here, look at this. Right around that crack, it's going to be good. I added some extra there just because the crack was here, and I want to give it more strength in this corner. I throw down probably, if I'm guessing, like 4 or 5 real good sheets of matting there, maybe 6. It was several. I didn't really count, I'm not gonna lie. But I added all that stuff there to reinforce that all the way around through this where it was all cracked. So I'm feeling real gooder about that. And the next thing I'm gonna do, thanks to Lugnut, thank you, sir, appreciate it. Told me about this other Bondo with fiber in it. 3M makes it, there it is, called Bondo Glass. So it has short strands of fiberglass in it to reinforce. Not gonna lie, I kind of put it on my hood. Just curious. It was probably the wrong thing to put there. Probably should have just used regular mud. That's okay. That's on the IROC hood, the original IROC hood. Now we are going to put it here, around in here. Why? Because it has a reinforcement, plus it's going to make it smooth again. We're going to sand off all these extra little strands that's sticking out, and then we're going to coat it with the old Magic. And then that part, she done. She real done. And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm happy about all of this hood right now. That hood is definitely a great decision. Glad I got it. And it was a bargain, just know that. Especially now that I got the hole threaded and the bolt out of it and the corner fixed. And I think those kits are like 20 bucks or something. So if you go price this particular hood, it's around 800 bucks. I paid nothing near close to that, so that's a win. I don't know how you guys see wins, but that's a major win to me. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up tonight, I believe, on this. I think that's all I was gonna do on this one, because the rest is sanding, and I think I've pretty much, yep, I've pretty much just sanded everything out. Like, you know, told you what grit to go for thicker stuff versus, you know, unthicker stuff. You know, like this here, we're going to hit it with some probably 180, 120, whatever I have the most paper of over there, you know, and really just cut it down real quick. And then we're going to hit it with another. We're still painting this hood because this is still a good hood. We're just going to repaint. We're going to paint that one there also, because what if we get another 3rd gen? Maybe we want some cool wall art, huh? What's cooler than a freaking IROC Z hood? I mean, a few things, but you know, still, these things are harder to come by. People, you know, they're not letting all this stuff go that they used to. And they're, sadly enough, these cars here, If you see them today, they had the holy poopy beat out of them, or people starting to restore them. So hopefully it's starting to swing the other way. The people that remember these from way back in their high school days and all that, along with the 5.0 GTs and all that, they are starting to realize they want their youth back. I have always said cars are the stock market. And what I mean is, these cars have their time when they peak and when they fall. Luckily for me, I got this car whenever it was down. I've been seeing them pop back up, and usually before they skyrocket, this is not a joke, you'll start seeing them again. These cars are starting to pop back up a little bit. They've been gone for years. People starting to dig them out of the woods, get them running, and they're selling them. Some of them are sky high, some of them are V6. Don't be scared to get a V6. You can clone it if you need to. Like I say, there's IROC Z hoods. You can find some of this stuff. So don't be afraid to build your own dream car. I mean, that's what I did with the Bandito. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was a little bit of learning for all of us. I've actually fiberglassed before, so this wasn't a real big learning step for me, I guess, because I have my own way I do it, that way so I can keep my gidgets nice and non-sticky. But yeah, I really poured the old resin to this, the hardener I mean, and the resin, that way so I could fit it with the resin. I poured the hardener that way so I wouldn't have to wait 3 days. So that's probably not the right way to do it, but that's the way I did it, so we can move on and keep on trucking. We're hoping to get it reprimered this week. We're definitely going to reprimer the heavy spots, because tonight we might be able to get the few spots that I want to get out of it out, so we can hit it with the heavy primer. And if we can, we're going to be right on track for let's see, wet sand. We'll be right on track with the wet sand, and then we're going to hit it with the good primer, the sealer primer, and that's it. Then we're going to sand her down one more time, wet sand, just so the paint can stick to something. And then she's paint time, baby. She's paint and she's clear. So all that being said, just to say thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it very much, and it's getting close. I cannot wait. We still, like I said, we still got exhaust to do to this car, steering column to tighten up, and probably gauges to switch out in the gauge cluster, a top to put on. But I'm not doing that. Somebody else can do it that knows what the heck they're doing. Sorry, that's just not my forte. We're not even gonna jump that hoop yet. We don't have that kind of time, because we got the golden chariot. That's where we're at. That's where I want to be. So we're gonna stick our claws into that sucker. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you here next time. And hold on, what am I doing? If you don't mind, real quick, down there at the bottom somewhere, just hit the old like, subscribe button, and I'd appreciate it. Now, we'll see you guys next time here on Right Turn Garage TV. It's getting a heck of a lot better.